Good afternoon. Welcome in, ladies and gentlemen.
Good
Welcome to
afternoon.
a special edition
Yeah.
of the U.S. National Park Service and the Cantrell Country Travelway show. Jason Thibodeau, welcome in, buddy.
Hello, Jason Thibodeau.
Um,
Welcome in.
yep, welcome in to all those
Good to
coming
see you.
in. Thank you for those that'll be ninja watching. Thank you for
Mhm.
those that'll end up watching the replay.
Yes.
Today we're doing today's show. As we all know, that this show is usually on 5 o'clock on Mondays,
Mhm.
but with this being a special weekend
Yes.
for Memorial Day weekend, we're doing the Monday show today. But we will
Mhm.
be doing a special show over on the Space Mountain Network,
Yes.
2 hour special show honoring the services of honoring the families and the members that have served in the thing,
Mhm.
people that have sacrificed their family members
Correct.
for this Memorial Day weekend. So it is pretty special, um, considering that I know I've served in the military, spent 7 years in the Navy Reserve. So we
Mm-hmm.
definitely want to say thank you to all that and all those that have served.
Yes.
And, you know, I do want to say thank you to the special services of the military and those that interact with the military, like Pete. I know his job.
Mm-hmm.
Um, People
Yes.
like Pete and who their jobs interacted and helped with the military. The military couldn't do that without those type of supports as well. So thank you to those people as well. Uh,
Absolutely.
but definitely thank you to the men and women that are serving currently and
Mm-hmm.
who have served, and those families that have sacrificed family members' lives for the freedom of this country that we
Absolutely.
have, that we enjoy today. That so, anyways, well, Mike, we're continuing our national park adventure.
Mhm.
Obviously, I know we've had some up and downs. We've had to cancel a
Yes.
couple of weeks, but we did
Okay.
finally get through. Let's see, we did cover a couple of parks so far.
We
We've
did.
covered Yosemite, but
Yes.
it's so big. It took 3 weeks. It took a couple of weeks to talk about Gettysburg a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Now we're going back to a national forest park,
Yes.
and this is actually the second. This would actually be the second national park. And you got to remember the parks we're talking about are the first national parks that were in the country, but were not under the National Park Services. Because
Mm-hmm.
if you remember from what we were talking about in Yosemite National Valley, the National
Mm-hmm.
Park Service didn't come into service until 1906,
That's
1907.
right.
And that was that was under Theodore Roosevelt,
Correct.
who signed it into the National Park Service.
Correct.
um, which is now under the Secretary of Interior, but I think
Yes.
it may have even moved around again now. Um,
Mm-hmm.
you know how government loves to change departments,
I get the point.
particularly since you got Homeland Security now too,
True.
and we know that was the last new department to be created after 9/11.
Yes.
So, but the National Park Service is actually a department within
Mm-hmm.
either the Department of Interior or whatever. I think it's still the Interior of the National Department of Interior, but it's
Mm-hmm.
its own national service because it covers all the national
Yes.
parks, historical parks,
Mm-hmm.
historical monuments, historical sites,
Correct.
um, national parks, nationals, and it's not that the U.S. owns them, but the National Service does work with state entities to cover some of these parks,
Yes.
even within the state. So not only do you have national parks, but you got state parks that work alongside with the NPS
Absolutely.
to maintain and keep the natural, especially for the wilderness parks, they
Yes.
maintain and help, keep the parks going and things like that.
Yes.
So today we're making a trip to Idaho, Montana, and Wyoming
Mhm.
for, to me, as much as I love Yosemite,
Mm-hmm.
this park to me
Mm-hmm.
brings so much more to me.
Mm.
And here's the reason why.
Mm.
One, it's got you're talking a park that has the hydrothermal and the geological features, like
Mm-hmm.
so it's more unique. It's even to me, it's more unique even than what makes Yosemite is that the Yosemite was the first national park,
Mm-hmm.
was the second national park, but what then makes it more again is that still you got and this and I don't have to mention the fact that when I mention the name of Old Faithful,
Yes.
what national park does that bring to your mind?
Yellowstone National Park.
Yep, because of the hydrothermal and geological features of the park.
Mm-hmm.
So to me, and here's the thing about it, because then what is one of you think about Yellowstone National Park,
Mm-hmm.
now we know what cartoon show does it make you think of Yellowstone?
Well,
It was big in the 80s.
yes. I'm thinking, well, out of all of the cartoons I used to watch,
I'll think
the
I'll say it's a couple of bears. That's all I'll say.
couple of bears, huh? Well, let's see. I know it's not Winnie the Pooh, because that's over there. Hello. Oh, yes. You just said it. Yogi Bear.
And hello,
Yogi
hello.
Bear. Yogi Bear. You just said it. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Dave.
Hello,
Yogi
Dave
Bear.
Reagan.
Yogi. Hey,
Yogi
boo-boo. It's
You know,
time
it's
for the
funny, Dave.
picnic.
I never watched
Because
Yogi.
think about it. What was that park called? Jellystone.
Jellystone.
So when I think of Yogi, I think of National Yogi because he does get into situations dealing with some of that stuff.
And yes, he does steal the picnic basket every time.
He tries to steal the national
Mm-hmm.
picnic basket. He gets away with them sometimes, but
Yes.
you got Ranger Smith who does a pretty good job. And honestly, it makes that's why it was kind of stupid but funny for the movie.
Interesting, Dave. Now,
Yogi Bear.
okay.
Picnic
Now that you
basket.
mention,
Exactly, Dave. Picnic basket.
Yeah. Picnic
Good morning,
basket.
Nathan. Good morning. Welcome in. Welcome in.
Good morning, Nathan. Welcome in. Good to see you.
So,
now, speaking of the cartoons and national parks, another one comes to mind for me. Wile E. Coyote and Roadrunner going to the Grand Canyon. Because the way that it looked like the Grand Canyon to me. With the
and that was just it. But if you look at mountain ranges and you look at most desert, that could be almost any desert mountain range thing. But I understand where you're pointing from.
Yeah,
I understand because it could look like the Grand Canyon.
Because
where you look at
Wile E. Coyote and the Roadrunner.
But if you look at Yellowstone and some of the things that Yogi got into trouble with actually could almost totally resemble just Yellowstone.
Well, absolutely.
Not any other park, just Yellowstone.
Mm-hmm.
So this morning, guys, we're taking our trip back to the National Forest Parks.
Mm-hmm.
And again, this would be the second. It is actually probably the second largest national park.
Mm-hmm.
And the second oldest of the national parks, which is the yellow. If you guys can gather from what we're talking about, we're going to be talking about Yellowstone National Park over the next 2-3 weeks. And just a little bit of the history of it. It was founded on March 1st, 1872. Particularly became the first national park to enjoy unique. And it's not saying it's the first national park, but it's the first national park to uniquely enjoy the hydrothermal and geological features of a park. Meaning, Old Faithful, the mountain gushers and the high.
Yes.
You go to the park and you look at the hydro things and the geysers. Thank you. That's what I was trying to think of. The geysers.
Mm-hmm.
it holds 2.2 million acres.
That's right.
And it's unparalleled. And actually, I kind of agree with it that the unparalleled opportunities to observe wildlife and
Mhm.
interact ecosystem is probably far more available to Yellowstone than it is to Yosemite.
Interesting.
Because it contains half of the world's active. And now this is interesting. It is actually saying that it contains half of the world's active geysers and view geological wonders like the Grand Canyon or the Yellowstone River.
Interesting.
So that is actually quite interesting on that fact. That was something I never knew.
Right.
Quite interesting.
The interesting thing about the Yellowstone is
I
that
am going to do this. I need to come over here.
everybody wants to see the geysers. Everybody wants to see Old Faithful, and then they get, and with that, and I have seen it on the videos, and it looks very nice.
Well, and here you go. Here you go, showing some of the pictures.
Oh,
and
wonderful!
This is just,
Wonderful.
Obviously, you got the sign of the Yellowstone National.
What a nice sign!
That's just the entrance sign to Yellowstone National Park.
Yep.
And then it says operating dates, because Yellowstone does only, because of it being up in those states where Wyoming, Idaho, and that obviously, and again, let's see, the three states that it operates out of is Montana, Wyoming, and Idaho. Obviously, you got fees and passes, wildlife safety, you can, there again, like Yosemite, you do have your lodges you can stay in. You got your camp.
Thank goodness. That's good for me.
Mike, this is what you need. You need right here. See where my little arrow is? That's what you need, a campground.
Not
this one.
I need a bathroom. I need a TV, and I need a Starbucks. I'm sorry, but I do.
Obviously you can fish. Of course, they try to stop you. They do allow boating and fishing at certain times of the year.
Yeah.
But make sure, I will tell you this, guys. I love my national parks and forest parks. Obey the laws. Protect the ecosystem. Just take care of it. Don't be don't be somebody that ruins it for the rest of us.
It's interesting.
We only have so many parks, so we need to take care of what we got. Am I not correct, Mike?
Absolutely, because and I'm going to be honest, the barriers are there for a reason, for crying out loud. Exactly. I hate to be, kind of mean about this, but guess what? There is a reason for it. And that's for your safety, not only to you, but also to the park as well as the animals. Because those animals, when they get riled up, they can come after you like nothing.
Don't disturb them. That's all there is.
It's the truth.
And then, of course, operating dates. The national parks, again, like Yosemite, it does offer in conjunction. Facilities close at the end of the business days. They open up at 11.
Wow, that's late though. But I understand why.
It operates through November through late April. There's very few facilities that are open during November through April. Otherwise, most of it is open from April to November.
Wonderful. Well, that's good.
Obviously, background, and then it gives you the listing of your different things that are operating. Like right now, the only thing that's open background is your Bridge Bay Backcountry office.
Oh.
And that opened up May 23rd. The rest of them, most of them will not open up until after mid-June. And of course, but you do got some facilities that are open. You're obviously You got your Canyon Gas services that are open. It opened up sometime between April and May, and they'll close again in October. Canyon cabin lodges. It looks like all your cabin lodging is open from
That's
May,
great.
and then they'll close about mid-October.
Okay.
Okay, Canyon. Okay, one office is closed throughout the 2024. They may be reworking on it. Canyon Park store, it opened up May 13th. So obviously, you're looking from May to November is when a lot of this is opened, or mid-September, mid-October. But again, if you go to the National Park Service and you look at it, go look into the National Start. Click under your plan your visit.
Go onto the website and take a look.
It'll tell you basic information, operating dates, MPSs, your fees, because most likely you'll have fees in that. Obviously, they charge passes and fee entrance to get into the park to maintain. And here's the thing about it is, remember, all these fees go back into that park,
which is a good thing.
To keep the ecosystem
really
things like that.
They're actually using the money to take care of it, which is good.
Correct. And of course, translated visit. If you do speak another language and you need, they do have even and same thing with the Yosemite National Park site. You'll find ways of translating all that same information into a different language.
Absolutely.
Obviously, you got your directions and transportation. It'll list your park roads, your maps, your GPS coordinates. Obviously, if you look under eating and sleeping, you got your lodging, camping, picnic, which for camping, you got the Bridge Bay Campground, Canyon Campground, Fishing Bridge RV Park, Grant Village Campground, Indian Creek Campground, picnicking. I mean, that's pretty much. You talk to the rangers; they'll be able to tell you where that is.
Yes.
And of course, I don't think there's too many restaurants on there, but you do got places to go where you got the visitor center, the Canyon Village and the Grand Canyon, the Fishing Bridge, Lake and Bridge, Madison, and the West. Thing to do, obviously, is watch wildlife, explore the thermal basins. Thermal basins is that's the one you're talking about everybody wants to go to, which is the thermal basins.
Yes.
Old Geyser and some of these people. You know what kills me is these stupid people that actually try to get up close and they get burned because they don't the barrier.
What is I mean,
use your brain.
I'm gonna be honest with you, Dave. They really, and I'm actually going to say this, okay? They really need to do something about it because it's ridiculous.
People are going to do what they want to do. They try to. What I'm trying to do is, we know that all we're telling you guys is we're just trying to tell you these are beautiful places to go.
Yes.
What we're trying to show you is that I can help you arrange these to get to these places, but as the thing is, respect the beauty, but take it all in because it's breathtaking, and you're going to see things that you can't see in other parts. That would be like going on to cruises. You're going to see things that you can see on cruises that you wouldn't see on land.
That's true.
You go to the different mountain ranges. I don't care if it's Appalachian, the Rockies, the Grand Canyons, Blue Ridge Mountains in Virginia. You're going to see something different, but it's going to have its beauty.
Absolutely.
So, when you're there, take your time, take a step away from life, breathe, relax, enjoy the atmosphere. That's what vacationing is all about. That's what my channel's about. That's what my agency is about. It's bringing the magic so that you guys can step away from life, step away from stress. We know that none of that goes away.
Right.
You have to step back into it, what we all like to call the adulting world. You have to step away from it to take that, no matter whether you're going to a theme park, the beaches, a national park, a historical park, maybe just a country drive down the road across country and exploring the different things. Like, you guys have heard me and Richard and Mike talk about Route 66.
Mm-hmm.
These are types of vacations that no matter what you do, and you've been on shows where me and Mike have talked about these different type of groups.
Oh yes. Oh yes. Many times.
It comes down to, and of course, it's got your safety background, backcountry safety.
Yes.
Swimming. It's got a lot of things to.
Got a lot of good information, I'd say.
Yes, I mean safety-wise, you got your swimming.
Absolutely.
So, I mean, and it's got its places where it's got its small beaches where you can swim in that. So,
nice.
Now let's get into. We're gonna go to park history a little bit. Obviously, well, before we go back to the pictures, I want to say the pictures for another day.
Yeah.
Obviously, a little bit of the history of the national. Obviously, people have been in Yellowstone for more than about 11,000 years.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, it's been archaeological sites, trails, more of oral histories. Although you do have the Takeda, whatever those are. I've never heard of them, but it's a Native Americans that lived in that area. There's also, you had a bunch of many tribes and bands that lived in the area. And obviously, it's been founded from the time that this country was landed on by the Europeans. Beginning to explore in the early 1800s. Osborne Russell recorded early visits in the 1830s. And of course, the first organized expedition was formed in 1870. So that goes to show you how old that national area is. And again, and we're going to talk about we're going to get ready to get into some of where the rights of the park actually started to begin into that.
Right.
But that natural beauty has not changed in that park or Yosemite National Park or a lot of the national parks.
Right.
Because they were protected. And honestly, today, my problem is if they weren't protected, the woodlands would be gone because too many people
definitely.
Trees.
Definitely. They would have been gone years ago.
Yeah. And I mean, that's why we're losing. Even you go to the different countries where you have rainforests. That's why the rainforests are disappearing because they're cutting them down too fast.
Yeah.
So, and it's not to say nothing bad, but I'm just trying to tell you that the beauties of these parks is the reason why you want to go, why you want to explore that. If you love nature, if you love seeing the animals out in the nature, listen, I work out in my high school. I've seen deer. Since I've started working in the mornings, I've seen foxes. I've seen deers. I've seen rabbits. And it's just running across country, but it's a beautiful natural thing because we got a lot of wooded areas around that school.
Okay, Dave, I got to ask you this one. Since you've seen wildlife in the natural habitat and where you're at in the lovely state
now, we haven't seen major habitat.
Have you seen any alligators or crocodiles?
No, because it's not. No.
That's good.
No, because we're
No,
we're more on solid land.
Okay.
Now, could you? Yeah, if you go to, we got some rivers. We got the Santa Fe River and the Ishnatucky. We got the Ishnatucky and the Santa Fe River. Oh yeah, if you went there, guarantee you could run into some nice little alligators real quick.
Very nice. I was just curious. Anyway, but yeah, I mean, with the way that these parks are set up, I mean, and yes, I have seen them in the pictures, and they look very, very nice. I mean, the fact that they have been intact for this long is absolutely amazing.
And I agree. And I agree. I'm just trying to do something different here
Mm-hmm.
with the camera because honestly, I feel like I feel like I can't read. I feel like the camera's right in there, so I can't see your face
Got it.
and I can't see the chat. So I'm
Got it.
trying something different where I can look straight into the camera, see the
Fine.
chat, see you,
That's
and
fine.
still look over here when I need to
Right.
look at the other screen.
I
So,
mean,
you know, still that kind of setup thing. I'm just
yeah.
minor things I'm
mean,
playing with.
for me, when I look at, with the national parks, on with the TV and stuff, I'm like, I am always amazed by how nice it is, and how it's not, how it's not, how can I put this, tourist trap kind of thing.
That's
Well,
what I love about. Okay,
to a
here's
point.
my problem with going to the cities or theme parks.
Sure.
They are natural, man-made
Oh yes,
traps.
some of them.
Because when all of them, Mike. I'm sorry, but I'm throwing them all in, and this is including Disney. They're all man-made traps because you're always going to end up spending money on
Mhm.
special dining, merchandise,
True.
on lodging.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you're always going to spend a ton of money. You go to a national park, okay,
Mm-hmm.
you may spend a little bit of money because you may not and that's whether you do a lodging
Right.
and you'll have your food, but you're not going to
Right.
spend as much. I could go to Yellowstone and National Park and spend a fraction there,
Right.
and that's staying at the lodging and doing the dining there, and not spend only spend a fraction of what I would if I was to go to Disney World and spend everything there.
Can I mention something, Dave,
Now,
about
are you
that?
going to get souvenirs from the national park? Yeah. So you're
Yeah.
going to spend some money, but you're only going to spend a fraction of what you're going to spend at the theme parks.
Can I say something on that, Dave? Because there's one thing that, for me, as a disabled person, now me, I need to know whether or not these are ADA or not. And I'm not kidding,
I'm
because
going to say these parks are all ADA. They
Okay.
have to be.
I know.
They have to be because
I
they're
know.
national, federally government funded.
I'm also looking at because
Problem is with private owned things.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
when
they have to
I'm
do
like, yes
80.
or no.
Here's the thing.
You have to look at everything.
They all have to do ADA stuff unless
Yes.
they're grandfathered in. If it's something like a historical thing,
True.
there are some things that people can get away if they're grandfathered into,
I know.
but they still have to find a way to make it accessible for ADA.
Absolutely.
With the parks,
But
you're going to find the national parks are always ADA.
Right.
Always. 100%.
Okay.
And here's the thing with the man-made stuff.
Yeah.
They may, but you actually have places that may try to get away with it and do the minimal. National parks are going to do whatever they have to and go the further extent to make it ADA. That's a whole different.
I have to see because also too, Dave, remember when people are traveling within the U.S. out of state, the airlines, that's going to cost. That's going to be a big factor.
And that's all part of it. But again, I guarantee it'll cost me less to fly from here to Yellowstone than it will be. Okay, now I don't have to fly from here to Orlando.
Right, I know.
I can drive, but think about the gas prices today. It's still gonna. Right now with the gas prices, I got a 12-gallon car small
Yeah.
car. It cost me almost $40 to $50 to fill that. That's expensive.
Mm-hmm.
But see, now it's down to 328. So now
That's true.
I'm
Yeah.
down to 30. But still, that's $30 compared
I
to
know.
40 years ago when
And
I
this
first
is
started
where-
driving.
Mm.
And I could fill a full tank for like
Mm-hmm.
12 to $15.
Right.
So again, John, welcome in, buddy.
John, welcome in.
Jerry, Hatbox Skulls, welcome in,
Yeah.
guys. So going to the parks again, even with that, even taking that into account, you're still, even most people would have to fly into either Sanford or
Absolutely.
Orlando. They're still going to far pay less going to a national forest park
And
than
there's
you
one
are
other thing too, Dave.
than you are going to a theme park.
And there is one other thing too, and that is the car rental. If you're not bringing your own car, depending on where it is.
Not always.
That's another thing.
Not always. Some national parks have where you can
Oh.
get buses that'll take you to
Okay,
the
breathe
lodge.
this
If you're
one.
staying at the lodging, you can, chances are you'll be able to find transportation from the airport to
That's good.
the lodging. So
Right.
that may not always be true. Oh, Lord of mercy. Yeah, we're going to be talking about that'll be in a few weeks.
Wonderful.
As soon as
Nice.
Richard's done traveling, Jerry, we will be talking about Gatlin and Pigeon Forge in a few
Right.
weeks.
Right.
But yeah, so that's not always true about the rental car. Sometimes some do, some don't. That's
Right.
that's even like in Orlando. Some do,
Mhm.
some don't. Sometimes they find the
Yes.
local bus and try to get it over that way. Even from Orlando Airport. So you do got those costs. You're correct.
You
But
do.
still, again,
You
you're talking a fraction of what you're paying compared to going to a place like Walt Disney World.
Mhm.
And the fact of it is, yes, you both. It comes down to what kind of experience do you
Exactly.
really want? The kind of memories you're wanting to form for that vacation.
Mhm.
Because every vacation's different.
Absolutely.
Everybody wants a different type of vacation
Mhm.
every time. There's no question about that. I will tell you, as a
Right.
travel agent, you cannot repeat a vacation ever. Whatever experience you
That's
experience on one vacation, it's going to be totally different.
That's very true.
And the bottom line is this. So if you're really wanting, I mean, you can get some wilderness type of things.
Mhm.
Obviously you got. That's why you've got Animal Kingdom. That's
Yes.
why you do got the certain
Yeah.
that's why you do got the national habitat. But if
Right.
you're wanting that kind of a vacation, going to Walt Disney World is not the answer. Going to a national park is the answer.
Mm.
Because here's the reason why. You can still, I mean, even if you want to be able to relax in the swimming,
Yeah.
the national parks have areas where you can swim that are safe.
Mhm.
You want to do fishing? Yes, you can fish out on the Seven Seas Lagoon. But if you want to see here's the advantage to going to a national park compared to going to Disney World and doing fishing there. The natural beauty. There you're going to see man-made things standing up, like
True.
the Magic Kingdom
True.
and the resorts. You go to a national park, you're going to be fishing on the lake, and all you're going to see around you is trees and some mountains behind it with the natural beauty, sky, and the clouds.
Mhm.
That's again, that goes back to the kind of what kind of view do you want? What do you want?
Right.
And I'm not saying either one's wrong.
Right.
I'm just trying to give you a different perspective of, it
Absolutely.
just depends on what the vacationers are wanting and what they're expecting. Because some people may love to camp, so they may drive an RV, or they may want to do the old-fashioned camping,
Right.
running the tents up, campfires,
Right.
and
Every generation's different.
Well, and it's not having to do with the generation. Well, it depends on each individual. It don't necessarily have to be the generations. As far as the type of travel and adventures they want, That has something to do with the generations. Like
Right.
a lot of your 55 and up, a lot of them are wanting to do more cruise lines.
Yeah.
And then it's specific type of cruise lines compared to
Mhm.
a younger generation where
Absolutely.
younger generations, they where some of the older generations they want to be able to relax,
Yes.
some learning, some educational,
Mhm.
some adventure. Most of your young cruise travelers,
Yeah.
they want the adventure, they want the experience, they
I'm
want
noticing
that.
that. Yeah.
So their cruise is going to be totally different compared to this. That's why even going to a national park, it's
Mhm.
a total different. Even within the national parks, you got those, okay, like you. If you were, and I'm just going to use you an example, Mike.
Sure.
Let's say you did want to go to the national park.
Sure.
You don't like camping. So obviously, your
No.
only option is to stay at the lodge on the park.
That's fine with me.
Now, like Richard and me, we're opening to all three. We both love. We're both willing to set up camp tents.
Yeah.
We both want. We could both go with RV parking, or
Right.
we could go lodges. So see
Right.
that right there is just one small
Right.
fraction of a different decision on what we would do staying at the
Absolutely.
national park. And that that's even going to Walt Disney World. It's a small
Mhm.
difference. We can do some of that at Fort Wilderness, but again,
Mhm.
you still see the man-made thing.
You
It
know,
depends
it's
on
interesting, Dave, that you
it
mentioned that.
comes down to the attention. Do you want to get away from the man-made stuff,
Right.
or do you want a mixture of both, or do you want total man-made? Because if you want
Right.
total man-made, then you may decide New York, Philadelphia, Anaheim, going to Disney World, Tampa,
Anaheim's in
Fort Lauderdale,
Disneyland.
Houston. If you want a little bit of mixture of both, okay, you've got Disney, you've got Gatlinburg, you've
Mhm.
got you got Pigeon Forge, you've got cities like that. You got Williamsburg, where you got some
Yes.
countries, but
Williamsburg,
you
Washington, D.C.
now. But then if you want to get total away from man-made stuff, you got Yosemite, you got the Grand Canyon, you
Yep.
got Yellowstone National Park.
You even have the redwoods out in California. You do.
Yeah, you got well, and then
You got the
yeah. I think
redwoods,
Redwood
you got
actually
Shenandoah Valley.
Redwood. I
You
think
got all that
Redwood
kind
is
of
part of the National Yosemite. I think
stuff.
I'd have to look
Ah,
back. I know it covers, and I could be wrong, and maybe Cosper Greens that I was thinking of that's part of it.
mhm.
There's so many parks that cover so many different areas. They call
Right.
different areas, but it's crazy. But do you see what I'm saying? As far
Mhm.
it comes
Yeah.
down to, I mean, the first
Oh,
thing
yeah.
is one of the things you're looking at is how much man-made stuff do I want versus how much
Right.
nature do I want
Absolutely.
in this case. I mean, obviously, because this park, and looking at some of the history on the national park and where the
Mhm.
protection begins, obviously this park was established in 1872.
Right.
Even the railroad, now even then, it has a little bit of man-made stuff because you did have the Indian tribes that lived in that area.
Yes.
In 1883, you do have the railroad that goes into there
Mhm.
for easier access. Obviously, the U.S. Army, and from 1886 to 1980, it
Mhm.
actually was managed by the U.S. Army,
That's good.
which is weird. I didn't know about that
Mhm.
because automobiles weren't actually allowed into the park until 1950, making it
Wow.
even more easier and more economical. But then the National Park Service, which remember what I said about 1916?
Yeah.
That's when the national park was formed. The NPS was formed, and
Right.
so it took control of the boundaries of the thing.
Right.
So the first boundary adjustment of the park was made in 1929. Now, and obviously, and then of course the management started with Leopold report. Changes to how wildlife is managed in the park.
Right.
The new 1970, the new bear management plan eliminated the open pit garbage dumps.
Right.
Meaning that's how much they're trying to protect the habitat. Which
I'm
means those
glad.
things that we were looking at Yosemite, the enclosed garbage cans where you had and for the bear attacks, there's that is all part of it, that it was protecting people from the
Right.
natural environment and protecting the wild animals from getting the food, which could cause more
Mhm.
harm to them as well as harm to humans if you got bears that come into, because they're freely
Right.
natural. They don't close off from the animals. They let the animals roam naturally in the habitat.
Yep.
So I mean, obviously, you got the wolves restored to. In fact, they even I didn't even know this. I didn't realize the wolves had disappeared from that park because apparently in 1995 wolves were returned to that park in 1995. And of course, the federal buyout of the gold mine Northeast National Yellowstone
Right.
protected the park. So, which means there were obviously when before they
Mhm.
buried all the gold, they bought the federal gold thing that was within that area,
Oh.
part of it. So, and that's just a little bit of the history of the National Yellowstone Park.
Mm.
Um, I mean, and a lot of interesting facts. And I mean, to me, again, you got historical tribes.
Right.
Go ahead and look at. I'm just curious to see what historical tribes are in there. Obviously, Wickups provide temporary shelter for Native
Wigwam.
Americans. So, I mean, this is some of the natural stuff that you would see.
Mhm.
These were the these would be what you would have called the wigwams, kind of.
Yes. Yes.
So the wigwams were more made of leather hide from the
Right.
animals, the buffalo,
Absolutely.
things like that. But that's closely resembling a wigwam. Um,
Mhm.
you know, I mean, obviously, typically the first American. They are actually the first American or first indigenous people to this country. Is
Nice.
the American Indians. They're the only true Americans as far as us. The rest of
Mm.
us, we all could prove our way back to Europe.
Yes.
There's not one in this country that could not prove yourself to a different country, except the true native born American blood Indians.
Mhm.
Um, Obviously, you got the Blackfeet, the Cayuse, the Corridas, the Nez, Shoshine, and Pierce among. These are just some of the tribes and the ancestors that
Mhm.
actually were in that area.
Yep.
Um, the Crow occupied the area generally for the east of the park. The Blackfeet
Mm.
occupied to the north. The Shoshine, the Bannock, and other American Indian tribes were to the west of the Traverse Park. Um, but then the Shoshine hunted in open areas.
Mhm.
Obviously, and this was in the early 1700s and doing
Right.
that. And welcome in, Mary Carroll. Good to see you. I hope
Hi.
you're doing good. Say hi to Adam, Blake, and Reba for me. And I know I'm doing good. I hope you're doing good as well. Um, so, so I mean, a lot of interesting information.
Mhm.
Now, see, and then this is the one that I found interesting.
Mm.
That Tukudika, or known
Mhm.
as sheep eaters, which is a band of mountain Shoshine that lived for 1,000 years in the area
Mhm.
that would become the Yellow National Star. That's
Mhm.
interesting that they thrived on eating sheep
Mhm.
because they would live off of the bighorn. I mean, obviously, anybody that knows what a bighorn sheep is, it's those big
Right.
red looking things that but have the woolly thing, which is the sheep.
Mhm. Right.
And it just depends on where they are because it goes on to say that some of them lived in the northwestern Wyoming, southwestern Montana, eastern Idaho, and they were actually known as salmon eaters, elk eaters, and bison
Mm.
eaters. Again, it's the natural habitat that was in those areas. It just depends on their food thing. So I don't know.
Mhm.
I mean, to me, again, these are some interesting facts that you don't get.
Right.
It's a man-made things,
Right.
natural history.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I mean, and let's face it, some of the Indian culture is really interesting.
Mm.
I'm still trying to find cultures that talk about Bigfoots because I'm still trying to find me a Bigfoot. We got to get you
know,
in the Appalachian Mountains and go chase Bigfoot.
People still look for that thing. People still look for it out there.
There's no such thing as a Bigfoot, and I'll be the first one to tell you. But it's part of the Indian histories, mythical monsters, mythical legends. You know, part of their philosophy.
Mm-hmm.
You know, whatever you want to call it, their philosophical history, their beliefs.
Mm-hmm.
You know, no matter what you call it, it's interesting facts.
Yeah.
And it's amazing again, because you know as well as I do, what makes it interesting is look how many different Indian natives that you had in that area. Considering that most tribes,
Mm-hmm.
you look at the Indian history, most tribes were concerned with their territory.
Oh, yes.
And if another tribe invaded it, they'd end up into what we call a big fisticuff.
It was an all-out
Indian war. I mean, you know, they pretty much fought each other, and until they moved out and stayed out of the area.
Exactly. But you know, it's interesting with that kind of stuff.
The what?
I said that it's interesting with that kind of stuff. You know,
it is, because the thing about it is, what I like about national parks is ingrown Indian history that goes into some of these parks to play part of the history of the park. You don't see that with man-made. And again, I'm not ripping down man-made things because I love Disney just as much as you or
absolutely
all the people in the thing. But I also have a love. I'm also part Cherokee. So I love the Cherokee, North Carolina. I love the history there. I love the Smoky Mountains. I want to go see the Grand Canyon. I want to get up into the Yellowstone National Park, into Wyoming, Montana, and Idaho.
Right.
You know, I would love to get out to Yosemite National Valley Park in Southern California. Because of the history and the beauty of it, again, it goes back to why people love to travel.
Yeah.
But why you travel are for different reasons. You may want to go on a road trip and discover the national history of things along, like we talked about, going along Route 66, learning the history of all the way through Route 66. I mean, let's face it, Route 66. Yeah, let me finish what I was going to say, and then I'll let you say it. Bottom line is Route 66 was the main highway through the southwestern part of the U.S.
Yes,
until you got the interstates like I-10, I-95.
You had to go 66.
You know,
you had to go 66. Now, the other place that I would recommend for the history lovers, Washington, D.C. and Williamsburg, Virginia.
Again, I would only suggest that it depends on whether they want man-made, if they wanted man-made things and they wanted to learn about history.
True.
You know, and we'll talk about some of those. Some of those may end up over on the vacation show.
That's fine.
Washington.
That's
because a lot of people love history. Again, I'm not saying it's wrong. I'm just, this is about the parks. This is about the history of the park. This is for people that love nature. Because we work with a maintenance guy at our school. He loves to go fishing. So he may want to go find the rivers of parks like this.
Gotcha.
And it's nothing against anybody else. It's just you've got everybody that loves their specific things.
Everybody has their own interest.
And here's the thing, or it comes down to people that each vacation They choose different
Mm-hmm.
things to chase. One vacation they may want to chase adventure.
Yes.
Another vacation they may want nature stuff.
Yes.
Um, in other cases, they want to go fully out, enjoy just like theme park,
Mm-hmm.
places like Walt Disney World, Six Flags, Knott's
Yep.
Berry
Disneyland,
Farm, Cedar
Hershey Park.
Point, things like that.
Yep.
Sometimes it may be just going out on a cruise line to relax, or they may, if they're a young couple, they may want romance and all that. They want the party romance type of thing, so you may go on the Virgin
Right.
cruise line. Somebody may want a mixture, a little bit of both, where you get
True.
adventure. That's where you get the Royal Caribbean, where
True.
you get a little bit. You've got your fine dining, you got your
Mhm.
music bars, but then you've got and you've heard me and Richard talk about it before, Mike, when we
Yes.
talked about RCL.
Yes, I know.
You got the different adventurous things of the water slides.
I know.
The Royal Caribbean has the only diving pools where people dive into a pool aboard ship.
Oh yeah.
Can you imagine that? I mean, that's a man-made feat. So it all comes down to what the type of different things that people want,
Right.
and it does play a habit on what are your likes and dislikes.
Yes.
So it's so, and for me, this is about talking about something just about one of my love, which is the natural. And I told you guys before,
Mm-hmm.
if I had my way and I could have been, if Dad hadn't had his heart bypass surgery in 2000, I would have stayed in Virginia. I would have finished my degree and I would have settled there just because I love those beautiful mountain ridges of the Blue Ridge. And it was gorgeous. Because I had Lynchburg, which is a decent sized city,
Mm-hmm.
but I had nature no more than 5 minutes out of the different mountains. And here's the thing. I told you that Appomattox, and then I had a little bit of history because 45 minutes away, I had the Appomattox Courthouse. And that whole area is what they know are what is known as the Shenandoah Valley.
Right. Right.
And for me, it's easy to talk about that stuff. It's because I have visited there, been there,
Right.
been in those places.
I mean, DC is the same thing with me. DC is like the same thing with me because I've been there a lot of times. I love it.
You're more of a big you like the big city life.
I do.
So most of I can see most of your vacations would be somewhere around the big city.
Yes.
I don't ever see you stepping into like Yellowstone National Park or Yosemite National Park. I don't even see you stepping into the Grand Canyon.
To be honest, not really, because.
But then again,
it goes back to it's not that I don't like them, or that I do, but
it's just not your interest.
Right, exactly. I need a city. I need a city that moves, and I need to stay in a hotel.
And see, not everybody's like that. Sometimes some people, and that's where some people. Now here's where the difference comes into, and that's why I'm saying it depends on what you're looking at.
Yeah.
When people live like me that have lived in big cities, I'm more where unless I want the adventure and the thrill, then if I want the adventure and the thrill, where do you think the first place I'm going to go to?
Knowing you, it would probably be either Disney World or probably Williamsburg. One of the two.
No, actually, it would be a cruise line. Disney World or a cruise line. Now, if I'm looking for somewhat of adventure, but somewhat back relaxed, guess what? Guess where I'm looking? Again, I'm looking at a cruise line, or I may look at Williamsburg, or I may look at Lynchburg, or I may look at, or I may look at Gatlinburg, Pigeon Forge, Chattanooga, where I've got the big cities. but yet I still have some of the country. Now, if I'm totally wanting to just totally get away from the stress, away from the city, away from man-made things, where do you think I'm looking to now?
Probably either Grand Canyon, Yellowstone, Yosemite, or Mount Rushmore.
Now you're talking national parks. So does that understand where my thinking was going?
Yeah.
How diversity? Does that make it a little bit more? Does that make it more clear on what I was trying to say as far as the diversity and what people? It depends on what they want.
Yeah. Now me.
Oh, Nathan wants to know if you get your Starbucks today.
And go nuts.
Hey, Nathan wants to know if you got your Starbucks today.
I did not get my Starbucks today. No. But I will be getting one soon.
He's crying because they were closed.
No, I'm not. I'm not, because I try to balance it out. But it's all good.
Anyway, so that,
seriously though, I think
one thing about it you have to say is that the national parks have an interesting history.
It's nice.
Yeah, and I'm not saying it's again
tricky because
but you look at me and Richard, you look at me and Richard, we have a lot of different tastes, but then we have some similar tastes.
I know.
That's why we would look into like Yosemite and national parks. And I know we pick on you, but again,
I would go to so fast it wouldn't even be funny. Not kidding. I'm not kidding.
Again, and again, it's nothing against that or it's wrong. It's just it comes down to our likes are different.
Absolutely.
Everybody has some likes that may be similar to someone
absolutely.
Else. But even with those similar likes, you're still gonna want something different vacation-wise than I would. Even we all love Disney.
Yes.
But even within the Disney, you may want to go to your fancy dining and sit down. Where for me, I'm just okay with quick service.
That's fine.
Or fast food.
That's fine.
And when I mean fast food, I'm talking more like a sandwich. Some of the smaller restaurants. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And Izzo's, the pizza place down in Springs.
Yeah.
Places like that. Which Splitsville, those would probably be more my favorites than it would be.
And believe me, you can do Disney on a budget. Trust me, you can.
And that's the other thing too. It's a budget,
especially with shopping.
No. Here's the thing. Sometimes it's a budget thing too. You guys are always talking about going shopping and budgeting, and it's not always necessarily.
Can I say something on budgeting? Because I can tell you that right now. Hold on a second.
Some of it is about budgeting.
It is, because
it's not all about
budgeting. The other day,
well,
with I was on a budget.
But here's the thing.
And I literally stuck to it. I did.
But here's the thing, Mike. Hey, Mike, remember, keep this too. It's not always about budgeting for all vacations.
Yeah.
Some of it is, but not always. Some of it is about actually what they want to experience in the vacation. And sometimes it's not always about.
Right, I know.
It comes down to this. It does come down to this.
Yeah,
but sometimes it does. Sometimes this plays a little less effect than the type of experience that they want.
And you know what, Dave? You can get the same experience both on a budget and not on a budget. You can do it.
That's where it comes down to planning. That's where it comes down to plan.
And that's why I love stuff. I do.
But, and that's why I'm trying to tell you, I don't have to necessarily go to a big city, and I can get just as much of an experience and just as much fun going to Yellowstone National Park and still have that kind of fun that you would going down to Disney World. Does it make sense?
Yeah, it does.
But that's because at that point in time, that's what I'm looking at for that trip. Now, my next trip, I may be totally looking for, okay, I want to relax and I want the beauty.
Mm-hmm.
I want some man-made things, but yet I still want that stress relief. That's what that. So the next trip could be okay. I want. Where can I find a lot of that? Cruise,
Right.
taking a cruise
Right.
because I've got the man-made fun. But then I can sit at the pool and relax. I can sit at the pool and watch because most ships play movies at night. I can sit on the deck and watch a movie, and I can relax.
Absolutely.
So, there's that type of vacation that I may want.
Yeah.
And then the total next one, it might be, okay, I want the thrill of a theme park. I want the experience. I want
Go to Disney World.
And obviously, so what do you think that vacation would most likely be for me?
2 words. Disney World inside the bubble.
You got it.
Mm-hmm.
So all I'm
I
saying
love the
is
bubble.
it's
Believe me, I
not
do.
wrong. What I'm saying is there's nothing completely wrong. It just depends on what is their thinking, what is their logistics, and what are they putting in their top order of? Is it
Right.
budgetary? Is it experience?
Yeah.
Is it relaxation? And that all plays down to what you look into when you're actually planning an itinerary. So, and here's my thing, and because here's the thing, when you go to a park like Yellowstone National Park,
Yeah.
you got Old Faithful.
There's one other thing, Dave.
So obviously, if I'm going there, I still have to plan as to what parts of the parks do I want to see, because obviously Old Faithful and those geographical will be at the top of my itinerary of my must-do see things.
Right. Well, Dave, sometimes the best plans are the ones that are not planned. And I'm going to say why. Okay, so when I went to
you can't tell that to everybody, Mike. I'm going to tell you as a travel agent, let me give you this warning, and then I'm going to let you finish.
Sure.
Sometimes that can also get you into a major lot of trouble.
Sometimes.
A lot of times.
But
it
all depends on
now
what
here's
it is.
where now go ahead and finish, and then I'll explain what I mean.
Okay, so in my case, when I when I was down in DC, we were wanting to go to the Bureau of the Engraving and Printing, and we were in line waiting, and then they'll find out that they were all sold out for that day. So what did we do that day? We went to all of the monuments. The Jefferson Memorial, the Lincoln Memorial. We went around the Tidal Basin, and we saw the FDR Memorial. That was so much fun. And on top of that,
how bad did you want it? Now let me throw a question in here real quick. How bad did you want to get into that Federal Reserve?
It was one of the things that we wanted
to
do.
Was it a real must? Or was it something
we wanted to do
if you got into, you're okay. If you didn't, you're okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so
either way, we were fine.
What you're talking about is a flexible.
DC's a lot. Believe me, DC, there's a lot to do. So even if we weren't gonna be able to get in because the line was pretty far back, and we did get close, but not close enough. But that was okay because we found other things to do.
Now here's the thing about this is where itinerary planning comes in. But as a travel agent, hold on. Now let me give you down a whole list of lines.
I mean, we get to a point.
Now let me go down a whole list of line of what I'm saying. I agree with you, but then that's why we tell them when a client comes to us not knowing exactly what they want to do, my first words out of it is there what do you absolutely must want to do? Because
Mhm.
those are the things that if you
Yeah.
want those absolute musts, you get the reservations, you get the tickets
Mhm.
right then and there as we're planning.
Yeah.
But if you want, and then I say, then if there's other things you want to do, but they're not a top notch, this is where I say, be that part of the schedule, you be
Mhm.
flexible because
Absolutely, which is
at
what
that
we do.
point you can go and try to get into it. But if you
Yeah.
can't, then be have some other things. The idea, and this is what I'm telling you as a travel agent.
Mhm.
Okay, you want these? Let's get these done now. Reservations locked in. You're good to go
Right.
for this day. Boom.
Yeah.
If you want these, but it's not an absolutely must, we
Mhm.
can we can look at it. Try to get reservations that you can cancel out if you don't want
Mhm.
to do it,
Yeah.
but it's not an absolutely must.
Right.
But so that's why I tell them allow some flexibility, but if it's something you absolutely want, that's where you have to have some planning, but some
Yeah.
flexibility. Because even I've seen it where even with planning
Mhm.
and you're even going out, depending on what you're talking about,
Yeah.
I've seen months out where it's like this ain't available for several months. So
Yeah.
this
And
this
that's
is
that's
this
why
is
I
a
always
no
have a
go.
plan B. That's why I always have a plan B. Oh, speaking of the national
Basically
parks,
about it. That's why I kind of agree with you,
let
but I
me ask
wanted to
you
make
this
sure you
question.
were
Speaking of
understanding
that,
it because
let me ask you this question. Speaking of that,
but would you
okay.
agree that if it's an absolute must, would you
Yeah,
agree that if it's an absolute must, do it months out in advance, get them right then and
absolutely.
there?
Book it, book it as far in advance as you can,
That's what I'm saying, and that's like the
especially for
national park.
dining
That's like the national
and
park.
especially Disney dining too.
Well,
Anyways,
and it's
but
not. Here's the thing.
mm,
That's not just this. We're talking about Yellowstone National Park. You want the national park? You need to know if do
you
you
gotta
want to
book
stay in a
them at
lodge?
least
Do you
a
want a
year in
campground?
advance.
Or do you want an RV campground? If you do
Right,
that, you do that months ahead because you know these
right.
parks get busy. So now
Oh
you
yeah.
need to, in this case, you
Mm.
have to plan certain things, which would be
There's
reserving your
another
camp
thing
spot
too,
or
Dave.
your lodging room.
Let me ask you this question, Dave. Speaking of national parks, there's also one other very important thing that people have to watch out for too: the weather, because you never know what it's gonna do, and
You just pack
what can
appropriately.
you do if
That
it
one, that
rains?
one. Here's my
And if
thing.
you
That is
completely rained
something you
out,
can do. That is something you can do a few weeks ahead before you leave for your trip.
see, this is
When it comes
where
to
I
that,
would be
that's
like, okay,
something. That is something that to me is
and I
not a
mean
high
completely
priority.
rained out.
That is not a high priority when you're planning early in the stages. Now, if you're in the last few
Mm,
weeks before you go and you're
yes,
getting ready to pack, then it
yeah,
becomes at the top of that list. But up until
yep,
then, you're talking maybe
yeah,
step 60 out of let's say you've got 70 things you need to do for your vacation.
yeah.
What you're talking about, you may be step 51, 52, and you've got other things you need to prioritize to get
Yeah,
done. But now, obviously, you know that list is going to get shorter as you're getting them done, and
correct.
then, and obviously, and obviously, you're not going to pack 6 months out when your vacation's
No,
not till let's say
no.
I'm taking a cruise for next August. I'm not going to
Mhm.
pack in December to go
Right.
to August, but
Right,
I
I
can
know.
guarantee you, come middle of June, early July,
I would start in
I'll
May
start
at least.
watching. Well, no, I won't totally watch the weather, but I will totally watch what the weather is
Mhm.
doing.
Right,
And
right.
obviously, 3 to 4 weeks out, I am definitely going to
Oh,
watch what the weather.
absolutely.
But keep in mind that even with that, you still kind of you still pack for bad weather just in case because you just don't know.
True.
So that's where you got to have some planning, but have
Yeah.
your flexibility.
Mhm.
And obviously, I agree with you. When you're only talking a few weeks out, obviously watch what the weather's doing because if you got a hurricane going and you know that hurricane's going to hit, let's say I'm taking a cruise out of
Miami.
Miami or Fort Lauderdale or Port
Yeah,
Canaveral.
one of them.
If let's say my cruise was in
Right.
2 weeks out from now,
Right.
and I'm expecting, and all of a sudden they got like 2 or 3 hurricanes. I'm
Right.
gonna watch what those hurricanes are doing, because chances
Mhm.
are one of them may hit that, and it's gonna probably hit it by the time my
Right.
cruise is. So that is the part where it becomes a little bit of a priority,
Right.
and knowing, okay, do I cancel my cruise? Do I have them push it back?
Right.
And this is a travel agent. This is why I've learned over the last year:
You.
get your travel insurance.
Yep.
If you're booking through an agency, get your travel insurance.
Yep.
That way, if you had to cancel, whether it may be
Right.
medical reasons or,
Right.
I mean, hopefully what I'm saying makes sense. Is what I'm hoping.
Oh
What I'm
yeah.
saying.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean,
because
obviously, you've got certain steps you have to do
Yeah.
as you're getting ready for a vacation. And I'm
Mhm.
not saying that yours doesn't become important, but it don't
Right.
become important until you get closer to your trip.
Yeah.
And then you start preparing, okay, let's say it's fall.
Yeah.
We either fall or spring, because either the weather's going to be up
Yeah.
here or the weather could be down here,
Mhm.
depending on where you are at in the
Right.
States and what the weather's doing at that time of fall
Right.
or spring. Obviously, if you're going to fall, I may pack for some warm, but I'm also going to have like maybe a few sweatshirts to protect for the cold, and have
For
my
me,
jacket.
for me personally, I will pack 2 things. With a hoodie and a spare jersey, and I'm fine. Mhm. Yep.
Now imagine these Indian tribes that lived in these parks. They didn't have. They didn't. Oh, here you go. Here's the Associated
Wow.
Tribes of the Yellow National
Nice.
Stone Park.
Nice.
And now you're looking at that is what covers the whole Yellowstone National Park,
Mhm.
because it's Idaho, Montana, Wyoming are the
Mhm.
big areas.
Yeah,
But
it's nice.
they all consider this part of the tribes that. And then there's your corner of Yellowstone National Park, which is in the
Yep.
upper corner of Wyoming on the border of Idaho and Montana. Interesting.
Yeah.
And right there is, and you're talking about weather.
Yeah.
You never know what weather you're going to get there. One day it could be hot, one day it could be
True.
rainy, one day it could be cold. And
True.
because you've been in the mountains, there may be days where you may see snow, especially if you go to
Or
the top
rain.
of the canyons.
Yep.
So again, that's knowing what it's going to do, but
Right.
you worry about that more at the time when it comes time to packing for that
Right.
trip,
Right.
and then you start watching your weather and
Mhm.
deciding, okay, how do I need to prepare for this?
Right.
Make sure I've got the right clothing so that I'm not
Right.
either going to be overheating if it's a hot day, or I don't freeze to death if it's on a cold, rainy,
Well, the
chilly
cold
day.
doesn't bother me anyway, so I'm good.
Yeah, but some people they can go
Yeah, I
from
know.
hot
Yeah, I
to
know.
cold, and that makes a big
I
difference.
understand that. I get it. Yeah. But
So, I mean, so what you're saying is true. You just, it just depends on what you're packing for and where you're going to
True.
and what type of
True.
vacation you're doing. But I fully agree with you. I mean, there's things that you have to make. There's certain things I always say that there are steps that you have to do
Mhm.
when you're getting ready for a vacation.
Yep.
I
Plenty
mean,
of
the
things.
first thing obviously is to choose where you're going,
Yep.
how you're going to get there, where
Mhm.
you're staying,
Yep.
what tickets you need,
Mhm.
what is and then you have your subheadlets under some of those things. Like
Right.
obviously you know where you're going, okay. Like in this case, we're talking about Yellowstone. One of my subheadings is, okay, do I want to camp out in a tent? Do I want an RV camp? Or do I want to do like Mike and get me a nice lodge that has
A nice lodge with a bathroom,
only
and
with
a
you,
shower,
only with
and
you,
a Starbucks, and food.
only with you, Mike.
I'm telling
Obviously,
you.
with me and Richard, but see that goes again. It goes back to with me and Richard. We may choose
Fine.
to decide to maybe do an RV or tent camping,
That's fine.
but it doesn't make it wrong. But
No.
well,
And
I
everybody
mean,
has
does
their
that make
like.
obviously does it make sense of what I'm saying about as far as I
It's
mean,
fine.
and like you said, you went to DC where you got things you wanted to do,
Yeah.
but because of the situation, you
Yeah.
had to flex with your schedule and do
We had
something else.
more fun doing that than going to the Bureau of the Engraving and Printing. And we saw the beaver inside of the tidal basin eating one of the cherry trees, and it made the news.
So does it make
That was
sense
cool
of why
enough
I'm
in
saying
itself. That was
that's
great.
why I'm saying that
That was
the best
great.
vacation, the best vacation, and I'll tell you this, and this
Sure.
is why I love my vacations as a kid. So
Sure.
does it make sense when I say there's certain things you have to plan out,
Yes.
but yet keep those plans where they're flexible because sometimes you don't know
Absolutely.
whatever it is. I mean, obviously, if there's things you want to do, then you need to make sure you get those reservations
Yes.
to make that happen. But then at this other time, if there's other things you want to do,
Mm-hmm.
leave it open to understand that depending on where you're going and when you're going,
Mm-hmm.
it could be maybe closed or
Right.
maybe something happened and it had to shut down.
I understand that.
And then, no, and that's what I'm saying. I mean,
Yeah.
make sense of what I'm saying that
Mhm.
sometimes you got the best laid plans to me is some things that are planned,
Yes.
especially if it's things you want to do.
Yes.
Yep, keep your focus open to keep your things open to where on other days of your vacation where okay, we can try this, but if we can't, we've got other options to do. So
And that's when you start to move
sometimes the best
stuff around.
vacation is a mixture of both.
That's
Sometimes
when you
the best
move stuff
vacation is a mixture
around
of
if
both.
need be.
The what?
That's when you start to move stuff around if you need to. Sometimes you can do it, and other times you can't.
Exactly. And
Wait a minute.
that's what I call the
That's a
flexible vacation.
possibility. That's a possibility.
And that's what you call flexible because
Yes.
obviously that's what I'm
You see, I
saying.
can do that.
You know, I mean,
Maybe in
that's
Disney
why,
World I can do it.
Right.
New York I could do it. Mm-hmm.
but at the same time, my thing is that's
Right.
why you plan. That's why on vacations I say if there's things you want to do,
Yep.
you take care of business and you get those
Absolutely.
reservations and check-ins done first.
Yes.
Then you look at your other days and say, okay,
Mhm.
let's plan for this, this, and this,
Yep.
but let's keep it open in case we find because sometimes we've gone on vacations where we've done things where we planned and we were able to do those. And then the next day we decide, okay, well, let's go here. But then all of a sudden we see something else we want to do. Said, yeah, we're going over here.
I've done that.
So would you agree that sometimes the plan / flexible vacation to me is one of the best ones you can do?
Oh, absolutely. And then it makes it more fun.
And that's why it is. And that's why I tell you, when it comes to the parks, be flexible. Because one day you may want to go swimming.
And you may want to go
the next
out
day
of the
you
park.
may want to go explore the trails
Yes.
or the natural habitat.
Mhm.
Or if it's raining, instead of swimming, you may switch it. Like, let's say if you're going to some of the museums or the stores in the park on one day, okay, it's raining today. So let's put the swimming tomorrow and the museums and that today.
You know, speaking of that, okay. Now, I just switch gears anyway. Okay. So for me, when it rains, I know for myself I need to plan, but plan in a different way. And I can still make the best of it. I really can. Because I've done it before.
Oh, yeah. And if it works for you, do what you got to do.
Absolutely.
But honestly, to me, that's why I will tell you this. To me, that also tells me no matter where you're traveling to, talk with an agent.
Absolutely.
Because even then, they'll tell you that there are some things that you definitely want to get down.
Mm-hmm.
That is a must. but then be flexible with the rest of your plans because sometimes you may not.
Sometimes,
You
and
never know what's going to come up unexpected.
and sometimes
And that's including maybe you choosing
also
something
too,
else.
Dave. Also
What?
too, Dave. This too. Some of the best recommendations always comes from the hotel front desk. Because we've had that happen too. Mm-hmm.
It can.
It's true. It's very true. I mean, if you really want some good recommendations, like for here to eat,
Here's the thing.
because they know everything.
This is what I told a couple of my. The heck.
Okay. Oh no. Oh dear.
Boy, do I understand. I understand that one, Jerry. Have fun mowing.
Enjoy.
Me and Mike will try not to relax too in the air conditioning, right, Mike?
I guess. But anyway, seriously, I think that some of the best recommendations always come from the front desk.
Well, and here's my thing, and this is what I tell my client, and this is what I told my client. But now she's going through what I did last year. Her mother had some health issues, so now she was doing that. So, I don't know if she's going to try to plan something for later this year. I haven't heard from her, and I don't want to disturb her too much.
I get the point.
But I may send an email to see how she's doing, and see how things are going. And I'm not going to bring it up, but if she brings it up, then obviously I will set the seeds of, well then, okay, if you want to do this and you're looking for this, then we need to maybe start looking at plans now for whatever she's doing. My philosophy is this. That's what I tell, and that's what I told her. I said, now, if you got the money and you are looking at it, and this was before her mom really got sick. Her mom, I told her, I said, go to the concierge service because she can still use me as her agent.
Yes.
But they can actually give you a little bit more benefits booking another vacation on there. But then you tell them, you say, I'm using this travel agent and I want him to get the commission. So it helps me, but it gives them it gives me a further edge because those are the people that work on that cruise. And they can even give them more details of cruises that I could tell. Yeah. But they may not get the perks that they would get when they book on the thing. So that's pretty much saying what you're saying. It's talking to somebody that can give you bigger details than that.
Right.
And all that.
Right.
So I don't know. All right, I do need to do this.
Okay.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yes, we will be right back after these messages.
Yes, we will be back. I'm going to close out mine so I'm not seen, but we will be back 2 and 2.
Yep.
Commercial. This is the Cantrell Country Travelway. I'm the agent and owner, David Cantrell. If you're looking to travel through the U.S. national parks or maybe to the waterways from beaches to ocean cruises, let the Cantrell Country Travelway help you find your magical vacation. All right. Welcome back, guys. Welcome back. So, yes, if you reach out to me, if you are looking to travel, I am the agent and owner of the Cantrell Country Travelway. Let me help you find that magical vacation, whether you're traveling to a national park, a national monument, national military park, or whether you're traveling to Disney World, Disneyland, Six Flags.
Dave, I can barely hear you.
That's because I'm over here.
Oh, okay. All right. There we go.
Just reach out to me. The links. I don't have there, but the links I'll post in the into the description later after the video.
Right.
I forgot to post the links into the description. Work kind of kept me busy yesterday, so I'll put the links into the thing where you can reach me. But let me help you find that vacation. Whether you have an itinerary and I just need to help you with the booking process, or whether help you discover what type of vacation you want. Reach out to me. So, anyways, I don't know. What do you think? I mean, I know, and we will continue. Don't forget, guys, Monday, we are doing a special military service, a special Memorial Day service on Monday at, I think, what time did you schedule that for, Mike? Did we schedule? Did we schedule that for noon?
Yes.
We do plan on going about an hour and a half.
Yes.
I believe hour and a half to 2 hours to be.
Yes.
And we will definitely have. Hopefully, we'll get some people. I'm going to reach out to. I'm actually reaching out to some guests. I'm hoping the one I talked to tonight can come on for a little bit on Monday, depending on what he's doing. He is one of our great community people that is a Disney creator, but he does sports too. So, but I'm hoping he might give us a 10, 15 minutes to come in and talk a little bit. Because I know military means a lot to him too as well.
Yes.
And John will be joining us. Maybe I may reach out to him and see if he wants to join us through the whole show.
Right.
So I don't know about you, but I'm looking forward to that.
I'll be here. Oh yeah. It's gonna be a great show.
We wouldn't if we didn't, for those people, if we wouldn't have the freedoms we have if people didn't sacrifice their lives for defending our flag and our country.
Yes.
So hats off to them. And I'm going to say, any final thoughts from you on Yellowstone National Park and Memorial Day weekend?
Looks like a great place. So if you want to go, book your trip. And I cannot wait for Monday.
Yep. And I will tell you, we will continue. We will look at some videos and pictures from the Yellowstone National Park. So I look to be doing Yellowstone for the next. Now we did Monday show today, so it'll be a week from Monday when we pick up again on Yellowstone.
Yeah.
We'll start looking at pictures and some videos of Yellow National, and I'm looking forward to seeing and hearing more, maybe a little bit more of the National Geographic things. Today we spend a little bit on the history and tribes that lived around the national. It's interesting.
Yeah.
But I'm definitely look forward to the Memorial Day service next week. And then don't forget, Tuesday night we have Dave's Vacation Oasis.
Yes.
And then Thursday we will definitely have the Cantrell Country Travelway Traveling Adventure.
Yes. We will.
So, and then, that's the next week's schedule from now till then.
Good.
I hope you all had a great time today. And
yes,
I know we didn't have a lot of people, but I thought it was fun, Mike. We had
absolutely
good conversations. A lot of good traveling.
Right.
Whether you're going to here or whether you're traveling to the national. you know, again, my thing is, you know, plan things out, but be flexible and, just, have fun, relax.
Yes.
My planning is, my thing is, get everything done before you leave on vacation because once you leave,
Absolutely.
you want to focus on
Yeah.
relaxing, being de-stressed. That's
Yeah.
what vacations are all about. Being
Mhm.
able to have fun, whether you're at the magic of Disney or
Yeah.
whether you're at the magic of looking at the beautiful
Mhm.
skylines across a national forest park,
Mhm. Yeah, absolutely.
especially at the geothermal like Yellow
Mhm.
National Stone, which are some beautiful sights. I don't know if a
Yes.
lot of I don't know about you, Mike, but some of the videos I've seen on YouTube of Old Faithful,
Mhm.
it's a beauty.
They are very nice. Yes.
It's nobody can compare that. Nobody.
Not even close.
Yep. So but that's the type of magic you want to experience on a vacation. Again,
Mhm.
whether it's at Yellowstone National Park or whether it's Disney World,
Yep.
it's about finding that magic and having fun, whatever your
Mhm.
likes or dislikes are, and what you want to accomplish. It's
Mhm.
about having fun, staying safe,
Yes.
and bringing home the memories.
Yes.
Agree, Mike?
Absolutely.
With that, I'm going to say have a great Memorial Day weekend.
Yes.
Again, hats off to all those that served. Hats off to the families that served with their military.
Mhm.
Hats off to the families who had sisters, brothers, siblings, mothers, fathers who have served and gave their lives for this country. Um, thank you for those that supported the military and
Yes.
in non-functional roles of supporting like the USO, um, jobs like Pete have done that
Yes.
supported the military. Thank you all of them too as well.
Mhm.
Can't say enough. But guys, have a great weekend.
Yep.
I know I'm going to enjoy because I'm all the way off till Tuesday. So, but then we go to our 10-hour workday. So with that, have a great time. Have fun.
Yep.
And like I said, let the Cantrell Country Travelway help you find that magical vacation. Bye bye.
Bye, guys.